Our future on this planet depends on us finding a solution to our energy needs. One of the promising alternative sources is in harnessing our abundant offshore wind.
In North Carolina, we have an opportunity to be a leader on the East Coast. And I think that one of the things that we should be doing is taking that leadership role. But it takes individuals to make that happen, as well as the politicians and the legislature. And what I would hope is that, our students here, as well as the community, takes that 83% that are in favor of North Carolina going to wind, and that they voice their opinion to try and make that happen.
There absolutely is a need for offshore wind energy in North Carolina. We have great potential for winds off the coast. The research has stated that, and it can supplement. It's much cleaner and better than offshore drilling.
I do think there's a need for offshore wind energy. I think it's a good location. We have a constant source of wind with the open ocean, and I think it would be a good option for us in this area.
I think there's a need for offshore wind energy in North Carolina and beyond. I think it just makes good sense to use what Mother Nature has given us to provide the energy that we're consuming. And it seems to be like a good, clean resource that just comes naturally, so why not take advantage of it?
One of the reasons that people are in favor of wind energy is simply because, number one, it's green energy. It's green energy. It provides no emissions for greenhouse gases, sulfur dioxide, or NOxes. The other thing that's a benefit is a renewable energy source that's available here in North Carolina. In fact, North Carolina, as a volume basis, has as much or more energy than any other state on the East Coast.
So North Carolina has a very good wind resource, and maybe not in a way that people would expect. I don't think a lot of people realize that, this stark dichotomy between the land-based resource, which is relatively poor, and the coastal resource, which is relatively amazing. So North Carolina has some of the best offshore wind resource in the entire United States.
Wind energy really presents itself with the best possible solution to a lot of our problems facing us today. So when we think of environmental issues, we think of the big issues like global warming, climate change, how that's going to affect sea level rise on the coast of North Carolina. But also how we use energy in North Carolina affects human health as well. We use coal for about 60% of our electricity in North Carolina. That has damaging effects to our health. It's the #1 contributor to global warming. But we need to think beyond coal. And one of the biggest potentials we have in North Carolina is offshore wind. North Carolina is actually the best potential for offshore wind in the entire East Coast. We get over 100% of our electricity from clean offshore wind energy, and that's why we need it in North Carolina.
I think the main concerns would be, whether or not it would impact the tourist industry, and whether or not wind energy can be reliable with lots of hurricanes coming through North Carolina. But if it's robust and doesn't impact anything else, I'd say it should be promoted.
So to take care of one of the first concerns and most basic concerns is, I want to have a beach vacation in North Carolina, and North Carolina relies upon millions of people saying that every year and actually taking their vacations here. I don't want to go to the beach and see a backdrop of wind turbines. I want to go to the beach and see the sun and the surf and etc. If they're 10, 12 miles offshore, you're not going to see them. So basically, any turbine placed offshore will likely survive a Category 3 hurricane without any issues. What's really interesting about the hurricanes is that it's not likely that a turbine could survive undamaged a Category 5 hurricane. And so you have to look at what's the probability of a Category 5 hurricane hitting North Carolina. The statistical probability of that occurring every year is very low, less than 1%. But when the statistics say that the chance is so low, somebody out there is willing to put up the insurance to mitigate that risk. They'll take that risk on. So it becomes an insurance proposition. If the risks are low enough, somebody will insure the wind farm.
I guess I would be concerned about costs involved.
Most large-scale wind turbines will pay back that energy price with the energy they produce less than 1 year. Meaning that within the first year of its operation in a good site, which turbines are placed in good wind sites, you'll pay back that energy debt, if you will. And from there on out, you've got clean energy, embodied energy-free production for the rest of that turbine's life, which is likely going to be at least 25 years.
What I know about wind energy is just that it's a safer way of providing energy for the planet, something that doesn't destroy where we're living.
So wind energy works. Offshore wind's been done in Western Europe since 1991. So it's a proven technology, but the United States, to be honest, we're slow. We're behind the times on this. But for the sake of our environment, for health, for our economy, because offshore wind can be a jobs creator, because that's the thing we always hear in the United States. We need jobs, we need jobs, we need jobs. But then often you always hear, well, we're going to have to sacrifice the environment. We have to blow off the tops of mountains, we have to poison our groundwater through natural gas fracking, or we have to endanger the sake of our future generations with nuclear energy. But we want to show that we actually can create electricity, create energy in a way that helps us in the future, for our environment, for health, and also bring jobs to North Carolina and the rest of this country. And offshore wind is the way to go for our state and our country.
Our world is a precious place that we want to make better, not just maintain. We know so much already, so let's take action to use our knowledge for positive expansion of our energy portfolio here in North Carolina.